Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, from Atlanta, Georgia, and the U.S. Men's National Team Training Camp. Today we're joined by defender Alex Freeman and midfielder Cristian Roldan. As we get started, a couple notes for those of you here in Atlanta. Training tomorrow, 10:15 a.m. We will have a mix zone availability with Miles Robinson and Austin Trusty on the field at 11 a.m. open for the first 15 minutes. I would encourage you to arrive by 10 a.m. tomorrow if you're planning on attending the 10:15 a.m. mix zone. And then in the afternoon, 2:45 p.m., we'll be back with Brendan Aronson and Sebastian Berhalter. As we get started, if you have a question, please virtually raise your hand, and we'll begin with Stephen Goff from Yahoo.
Hey guys, thanks for your time. Question for
Recording in
Alex.
progress.
This past year or since last year at this time, it's been a pretty amazing journey for you through Orlando City, the national team, and then to Spain. Can you articulate what this has been for you emotionally over the past 8, 10, 12 months to the brink of hopefully getting onto the World Cup team? Thanks.
Thank you. The last 8, 10 months, it's been very quick, right? It's been just a moment for me to realize how serious things are, but to adjust, right? And I feel like, it's been a blessing, it's been grateful to be able to have, 8 or 10 months to have, kind of changed my life. So for me, it's just been able to go in and try to get better every day, try to learn something new every day. And for me, it's just to try to, change something about me, whether it's on the field or off the field, to just improve myself, as a whole, to make me a complete player, and just adversity, just to be able to, take all the information in and be able to adjust to anything, as soon as possible.
Alex Freeman, a finalist for the 2025 U.S. Soccer Male Player of the Year, also named the 2025 MLS Young Player of the Year and to the 2025 MLS Best 11. Next will be Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, guys. Another question for Alex, kind of piggybacking off Steve's question a little bit. Since moving to Spain, what has that transition been like, and what has been kind of the toughest thing to get used to over there? What have some of the biggest challenges been?
I think the first thing is moving so far away from family, right? Orlando, Florida, it's a 3-hour drive, and I'm moving like a 10-hour, 12-hour flight. It's a whole different thing, right? So just, another way for me to grow up even faster, right? And soccer-wise, I think the speed of play, it's very different, right? And I feel like for me, it's something that, I need to adjust with, right? Speed of play, technical ability, and so that's just stuff that I have to adjust and try to adapt to, as soon as possible. But overall, the club is very welcoming, and just to be able to be in Spain and just be able to kind of adapt to a new environment, it's been a very, very good part of my journey.
Should also have mentioned at the top that Alex now speaks fluent Spanish. Next will be Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Hey guys, thanks to both of you for your time. I have a question for both of you. Cristian, I wonder if you could speak about Alex and how you watched him shoot into the spotlight, first in MLS and then with the national team, and how you think maybe he's going to carry the banner for the league and the country overseas. And then Alex, I was wondering if you could speak a little on how you watched Cristian over the years and maybe what he brings to the team and what he's like both as an opponent and as a teammate.
Yeah, I think the first moment I saw Alex, I saw a lot of potential, and so being able to tap into that potential is something that I've seen Alex do over the course of 10 months. It obviously warranted a huge move to Villarreal. So for me, just his ability to tap into his potential, his athleticism allows him to, play different parts of the field, but also his ability to play, right? To have the ball at his feet. I think that is such an underrated part of his game. His ability to find guys in the midfield, wiggle out of pressure, dribble out of pressure when the time comes. He really is a complete player. He brings a lot to the team. and I'm excited for him. I hope that he continues to grow at Villarreal. But again, it's going to take a whole lot for him to see the field. The level of competition is very high over there, but I fully expect him to tap into even more of his potential, grow as a player, be uncomfortable in certain situations so that he continues to grow.
Yeah, and for me, Christian's been kind of that guy that I can talk to, right? I feel like when you go to one of the leaders on the team, I think one of the first names I think of is Cristian Roldan, right? And I feel like, knowing that he's a leader and just knowing that he's been in great in MLS, right? Especially when I was first in the academy and first going into the first team and trying to fit in, Cristian Roldan was kind of that guy you kind of knew, when you thought of MLS vets and MLS players that, were always consistently performing, right? And just, again, to now experience that with him as a teammate, I think it's something that, I'm grateful for, and I think it's cool to see that leadership, firsthand, right in front of you. So, and I've been talking to Christian off the field. He's a great person, and sadly in MLS we did not get to play against each other. But I think overall, I think it's good that I'm able to play with him now and just experience that kind of thing, growing up and watching him. So, yeah.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, gentlemen. Christian, I think this one is for you. It's not the first time we've asked you or the other midfielders of this team, well, Tyler Adams is out this month, so now what? But, obviously the competition to get those central midfield spots is fierce and deep. And I wonder how you assess it at the moment and how you think that this month is going to go. Thanks.
Yeah, I think with the absence of Tyler, look, it's a huge a gap, right? Tyler brings a whole lot to our team. His energy, his ability to tackle, cover ground, his leadership, and now it's time for the rest of the midfielders to fill that void. And I think that the midfield position is quite competitive. I mean, when you talk about guys like Weston and Tanner playing so well. You have guys like Seba and Aiden playing so well, and then you have Johnny, right, playing for Atletico, and for me, right, it's how can I compete, right? How can I put myself in a good spot before the World Cup? Put myself in the best spot possible to make that squad. But listen, like if my name isn't called, right, I'm gonna be the best teammate I can be, and I fully expect the rest of the midfielders to do so. But the level of competition is there. The level of competition that we're gonna face on the field is there. So this is a great opportunity for all of us to test ourselves against a really good competition.
We'll go to Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hi, Alex. Thanks for doing this. What do you do to stay sharp when you're seeing so few minutes on the field in matches for the club? And you talk to someone like Gio, who's had an experience in the past and present on things they do to try to get as best mentally and physically shape possible coming into a camp like this?
Yeah, for me, obviously I haven't got the minutes that I've wanted, right? But I feel like for me, I also got to experience, a high level, right, in Spain. Be able to stay sharp against, one of the best players, on the team and maybe even the league, right? We're fighting for Champions League, so it's always competitive in training, and just get to experience that environment in games as well. I think it just keeps my sharpness, right? And obviously, when I'm there training, obviously when I'm not playing, I'm doing the extra work, right? Just trying to stay fit, trying to stay sharp. Try to stay in my best, ability to be able to not only, hopefully when my name is called there to try to prove myself, but if I get called here, and I am here now, to be able to be the sharp player that I can be and be able to be the same Freeman that, you guys all see on the field. So it's just to be able to come in and try to be that same player and have that same confidence and have that same ability that I can keep going.
We'll go to Mike Waitala from Soccer America.
Yeah, thank you. Christian, how valuable do you think it is for a player to go into a World Cup already having experienced one? And like for the last World Cup, were there things that happened that you didn't expect or that are good to know going into the next one?
Yeah, it's always important to have experience on the team because results, moments in games, the things happen, right? Whether it's conceding a goal or picking up your teammate next to you, it's really important to have those guys that have been there to pick up the team, to fall back on that experience. And look, there's going to be a lot of pressure at the World Cup. We're obviously hosting it. We're in good form. There's a lot of expectation within our locker room. So falling back on the experience is going to be vital when the pressure comes, and you need a result. And so for me, right, guys that have been in finals, guys that have been in big pressure moments, those are the guys that we're going to fall back on when it gets tough. And we're sure that we have enough experience, have enough guys that have played in big moments, especially in Europe. So I think we're all ready, and we're focused on having a really good camp.
Next will be Pardeep Khatri from CBS Sports.
Hi, this one's for Alex. Just, we've talked about your move to Villarreal already. I'm just sort of curious, why did that move feel like the right decision to make in the moment? And were there, teammates or coaches that you consulted before making the move?
Yeah, for me, it was obviously a move that, it kind of changed my life, right? But I feel like it was a move that made sense to me, right? I feel like, I think for me, it was to be able to, yes, I did this year in MLS. How can I, test myself again, right? And I feel like this was kind of the thing that I wanted to do, to test myself and just be able to kind of be in good form, for the World Cup, but just to experience something for my future, right? And I feel like it was the right move to do that, And obviously, going into it, you have people you're going to talk to, right? My parents, family, everything like that. But I think one of the main people I talked to, two people I talked to at this camp were Pochettino and Weston McKennie, right? They kind of gave me that talk, They kind of gave me the pros and cons, but kind of gave me the supportive way as well, knowing that, that whatever decision I made, do it for yourself, but also, take the risk if you want. It's your life. You got to be able to, extend and be able to do what you want to do, but also know that, this is, it's a high risk, high reward, right? So just to be able to kind of do everything on your plan, and it's good to get that feedback from guys, that have experience, kind of in the top places in Europe. So, yeah.
Next will be Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Thank you, Michael. Christian, this one's for you. Seems like Mauricio has really been stressing that the camp right before the World Cup isn't necessarily the World Cup roster, and that everyone still has things to play for, and you're probably a pretty good example of that. In that last World Cup, the September right before, you're not playing, and then there you are in the World Cup roster a few months later. What is the vibe like knowing that that's the situation? Like, I'm sure there's excitement that everyone's excited to be back together after everything that went on in the fall, but what is the vibe like knowing that there's so much at stake and that nothing's really guaranteed heading into this?
Yeah, I think with all those things that you've mentioned, you talk about pressure, the amount of emotions that people are going through right now. It's obviously everybody's dream to go to a World Cup. So it creates a competitive field, right? It creates a competitive teams that are players that are eager to get out there and show what they're capable of. And I expect competition this camp. I expect competition in every camp, but this one especially, leading up to the World Cup, with the things that Coach said, no one's spot is guaranteed, and so proving yourself each and every day is extremely important. And look, these friendlies are not friendlies, right? We're playing against big time European countries that have a long history in the sport. And so that's our chance to show what we're capable of, who we can compete against. And so I think that we're all excited for the level of competition that comes along with, the pressure and emotions that comes with, right, the dream of going to a World Cup.
Next question comes from Allison Mastrangelo from WSB TV. Allison, did I get your name right?
Yeah, you did. I'm so impressed. I appreciate that. Thank you. Either of you can answer this, or both. You know, you talk about the dream, the pressure of playing in a World Cup and getting that chance. But how much more pride do you take in trying to make a World Cup roster when you have a chance to play on your home turf in the host country? I mean, what does that feel like for you guys, and how much more does that mean?
I'll start. I think that we have, with pressure comes responsibility. I think the responsibility that we possess at the moment is to create our own moments, create our history for the next generation, for the kiddos that are going to be in for the kiddos that are watching, to be inspired to be the next Christian Pulistics, Weston McKinney's. And so I think with pressure, there's a huge responsibility on our part to show up and create those long-lasting memories for the next generation. So I think we're all excited, obviously, having the World Cup here in the United States, and we're such in great spots if we're fans of the sport to be able to achieve something bigger than ourselves.
Last question today comes from Andrew Jones.
Thank you, Michael, as always. First for you, Christian. You got the experience at Super Bowl 60, being on Telemundo, having the experiences with J Balvin, Rava, and then seeing your Seahawks win. You talk about that experience as well as playing in Spokane and winning that tie against Vancouver. And for you, Alex, Renato Vega, your new teammate on Villarreal, among your many new teammates, you're playing off against him potentially. Have you talked to them about potentially facing off against him in that vibe? So for you first, Christian.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank U.S. Soccer for putting that together. I think it was an awesome experience, a different experience that I'm used to, being able to represent U.S. Soccer and, being from Seattle, supporting the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Really cool experience. Gave me a different perspective on the Super Bowl, the sport, also broadcasting, right? Being on Telemundo is a really cool experience. Being able to adjust, give me a different perspective on what maybe life after football might look like. But altogether, it was awesome, and I'm glad the Seahawks won. And secondly, great result in Spokane against Vancouver. Vancouver is a really good side right now. And we have a tough side in Tigres. Going to be tough to go down there and get a good result. But look, our team is experienced enough to go down there and do it. But we need to have a good performance to be able to get out of Mexico with a good result.
Yeah, and for me, me and Ronaldo talked about it a lot. Going into the camp, he's kind of one of the guys that I've connected with when I first moved to Villarreal. He's kind of a guy who brought me under his ring. We're kind of, he's kind of been in Europe for a little bit now, and he's kind of, 1 year older than me, right? He's kind of the same age. So, we've talked about it a little bit. We're kind of excited, kind of to face each other, and I think we just kind of know that, we're friends off the field, but when it's on the field, we don't know each other kind of thing. So I think for us, it's just to be able to know that, we're both representing our national teams, right for the World Cup. And I guess that's kind of the bonding we've had, off that.
Well, on behalf of U.S. Soccer, Christian, you're welcome. A reminder, everyone, tomorrow, encourage you to arrive at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for Miles Robinson and Austin Trusty, and back here at 2:45 p.m., Brendan Aronson, Sebastian Berhalter. Thanks to Christian and Alex and all of you for joining today. Have a good afternoon.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Like how I threw in your stats there, bro?
Huh?
Dude, he's the